So for the last 2 years since I retired, I've been working on a Pete and Pole Sky Scout. And that's a Pete and Pole Sky Scout. Um, Basically, it's just to kind of keep my mind active. But I have more than enough things to do to keep me active. So I probably shouldn't have started it. But I did, because it's fun. This is part of the control stick mechanism. Still have to cut out some 4130 and bend it up for that, but we'll pick away at that. This here is my newly assembled control panel, instrument panel for my Aronca Champion. I still need to get a new one of these. This one's had it. But yeah, it turned out pretty good. It's mostly old used instruments that came with the airplane when I bought it as a project, but they seem to be working. Yeah, so once we get it running, we'll find out for sure. And around my little basement shop, there's a pile of old Lycoming parts and some cylinder heads from an old Lycoming and another old Lycoming. Go imagine. These are an 145. It's a 65 horsepower Lycoming. I think they date back to the late 30s, actually. So when I fumbled across these, it was a really good price. So I decided I better grab them. It's about the same vintage as the Pete and Pole. So I figured, hey, let's get these and maybe we can make something work. So I got two of them. This is the one that's being assembled. It's turned out pretty good. I just welded up a quick engine mount because they're kind of an awkward contraption to work on once you start going. It should actually be mounted by the prop flange vertically, but you know, a lot of things should be. So anyway, that's that. It's coming. It still has some work to do, obviously. And the Pete and Pole, here it is. So start off at the back. I've been working on the hinges. So I've got the rudder hinges done. Pretty happy with them. They were a little bit snug, so I'm actually grinding them in with a little bit of valve grinding compound, and it's coming along quite nicely. So every time I walk by it, I wiggle it a little bit, and then when I'm happy with it, I'll clean them all up. I haven't built the elevators yet. I've got all the elevator hinges built. They're hanging here. Horizontal stab, done. And the fin is done. And a Fokker triplane. Old Gallows model that was kicking around, so I hung it up there so the kids wouldn't wreck it. The fuselage is pretty near done. I put the plywood on the other side, this side here. But I left this side open because it's really difficult to access it once both sides are on. The rudder bar mount is in. And once I finish the control column mechanism, I can bolt that in. And then I can lay it on its side and put the plywood on. So that'll be nice to have it boxed in. Yeah, big box of Aronca parts. Like I said, I bought an Aronca Champion. Well, Aronca Champion. It's a Champion Tri-Traveler, which was like an Aronca Champ that was converted to a tricycle gear airplane. I'm going to convert it back to conventional gear, but I'm going to leave the lugs all on the airplane, so if anybody ever wants to put it back to trike gear, they can do that. So it'll be kind of, I don't know, convertible. Sure. What else is exciting here? We'll start here. So years and years ago, when I was a private in the military, an old friend of mine always had Triumphs and Nortons, and he had HASs and BSAs. And I just kind of fell in love with old British bikes through him. I was probably 12 or 13, and he taught me how to fly radio control airplanes. I always had airplanes on the brain, and I still do, I guess. So I found this in boxes in the Annapolis Valley, Nova Scotia for What did I pay for that? I think it was like $400. But it was in sad shape. And it's not perfect now. Like, I put it together. I was poor. I was a private in the military, not making a lot of money. And I assembled it with what I had. No spark plug boot on there right now. I took it off for the kids' Honda 50 because it needed one. But it runs well. It's dinged up a little bit, and it's not perfect. And I'm going to leave it just like that because, it's nice to have everything perfect. But it's nice to have, I don't know, stuff that's mechanically sound and looks like it actually gets used. So that's that Triumph. And I bought that before the internet, obviously. It was 1991, I think. And I needed parts. So you could get some parts, but not all the parts. I got them from a place in the Annapolis Valley. What was it called? Cycle Supply, British Cycle Supply. Anyway, I'm not affiliated with them. They did get a lot of my money, though. So anyway, I found this one in Cape Breton, up by the Newfoundland Ferry, laying on its side with a tree growing through it. And I picked it up for $300 I paid for this one. And it was in pretty rough shape. It still kind of is. But mainly I bought it for parts. And a couple of years ago, I decided to pull it out of the boxes that it was in and sandblasted and polyurethane the frame and started to slowly assemble it. It's got a long way to go, obviously, and it might never get done, but all the parts are here. Well, most of the parts are here. So it's safe and dry and warm. Better than laying outside. All right, let's spin around, and we've got a 1974 Triumph Daytona. This is a 500. It's a nice little bike. A friend of mine used to own it back in Nova Scotia, and he rode it everywhere. He kind of had I was looking for that. He kind of had, the big high-rise bars on it, which I never liked. It doesn't have the original gauges on it. It's got Japanese replacement gauges, which is too bad, but they actually work, so that's something. This is a 1974. I think I already said that. Never really rode this one. I asked him once if he wanted to sell it, and he said probably, and he gave me a price, and I thought, whoa, that's pretty steep. So a couple months later, his truck broke in half, frame rotted out, and he needed money, so he got back to me, and I got this and a spare engine in a box. So it's warm and dry and safe. If I don't get around to riding it, maybe my grandkids will. All right, next is my Bonneville. This is the 71 Bonneville. Everybody likes to hate on them because this is the year that the Bonneville changed. It's got oil in the frame, and everybody likes the oil tank. And I like the oil tank too, but I got this bike for $1,200 in like 1992 or 3, and I've ridden it a lot, and it's always been a good old machine. It's not perfect, but it kind of had, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a restoration, but I disassembled it, went through it all, did the frame, new tires, new tubes, new exhaust. What else? I don't know, whatever else mechanically that it needed. Sorry about the camera work. This is kind of shitty. But yeah, it works and it runs. The wheels should be unspoked and relaced and everything should be done up. But, when you get this much stuff and you're retired, there's only so much money to go around. I'm not Jay Leno. There's the nose gear off an Aronca Tri-Traveler. It's going to stay there. Okay, 1974 Norton 850 Commando. This one here is a pretty sexy bike. Don't have much room here to show you, but I've been assembling it for a number of years now. I got it in parts. It was in boxes also, and I got a pretty good deal on it. It's kind of neat because it's sort of souped up in the way that they would have done it back in the day. I'm missing the bucket for the headlight, unfortunately. I was missing quite a bit of it. Oops. It's got the Dunstall fairing. It's got the Mikuni carburetor conversion. It's got the Dunstall exhaust, 2 into 1 into 2. It's got, well, sort of rear sets, I guess. Actually, I think they're just stock. I might be talking out of my ass there. It has the Dunstall center stand even, which is kind of cool. It works with the exhaust. Yeah, nice bike. I had another Norton years ago, a 750 Commando, and I sold it to a friend of mine. And he did a really nice job of fixing it up and keeping it going. So anyway, there's the Commando. And, oh, here we are. A Lycoming 0235 for my Aronca Champ. So that's going to be interesting. I have the Buzz Wagner STC, if anybody knows about airplanes. The Aronca Champ originally came with a 65. Mine is a 1965 horsepower. Then they bumped it up over the years until they got up to about 90 horsepower. And then when Champion took it over, they turned into Citabria. They went up to 150 horse, I think they were putting in them. Anyway, mine originally had 90 horse, and I bought it as a project with no engine, and I found this engine, read about it. I've got 2 more of these. One of them is a low time engine with a brand new top end I'm going to buy. So this one's probably not going to go in my airplane. It'll be the low time engine with the brand new top end that goes in my airplane, but I still have to get it. And the coronavirus is keeping me from going on the ferry to go pick it up, but it'll come in time. And here we go. This is pretty cool too. I don't know how to rotate this. This is a 1988 Suzuki RGV 250 Gamma. And I don't know, it's kind of buried in here. It's hard to see, but it's in really nice shape. It's a really cool bike. They were never sent to North America. They were European, and can you see in there? Not really, it's pretty tight. North American, Australia, that kind of deal. Still has the Japanese on the sticker. It's too cool. This one here was imported from Australia, and I picked it up. It's kind of difficult to find parts for because, of course, they never came here, so all the parts, you have to go online and find somebody in a different country to get them for you. But it's a 2-stroke liquid-cooled V-twin, 6-speed, 60 horsepower. I forget what it weighs. It's not much. It's the most uncomfortable motorcycle I own, and it's probably the most fun motorcycle I own. You think about steering it, and it goes where you want it to. And I was actually quite afraid of it for a while. Maybe not afraid, but wary. Because when the power band actually kicks on, it's quite a thing. And especially when you're going around a corner, I was always worried about it breaking loose because it's kind of like, 250 Honda kind of thing. And then all of a sudden it's this screaming beast. But you get used to it and you know how to use it after a while. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. So it's been sitting down here for a couple of years now. I've been riding the BMW, and I've got an old Honda XL500 that I ride quite often. Yeah, so that is kind of the basement tour. Old Model A Ford engine buried in the corner. That may end up on the front of the Pete and Pole yet. Still not decided. It's good to have options. If the Lycoming 0145 doesn't work out, maybe that'll go on there. I don't know. But this is more of a wintertime project and a rainy day project, so I just come down here with a coffee and rattle around. Yeah, so there you go. It's kind of messy down here. I move things around so I could do a big tour and kick the machines over. Every couple of months I come down and kick them all over so nothing sticks. And I give them a squirt of oil down the spark plug holes every now and again. So yeah, this is my little world. You guys take care. Stay safe out there. Wear your gloves, and I don't know. It's kind of scary times we live in. But yeah, we'll make it through. All right, hugs. Bye-bye.